You know, there's something profound happening right now in your life, and you might not even realize it. Every single moment that you spend worrying, stressing, and anxious about tomorrow is a moment that you're missing the miracle of today. And here's what I want you to understand with absolute clarity. Stress is not your natural state. It's not who you are at your core. It's something you've learned, something you've practiced, and most importantly, something you can unlearn. When we talk about what God says, what the universe whispers to us, what that infinite intelligence that created everything is trying to communicate, the message is crystal clear. Stop stressing. But we don't listen, do we? We wake up in the morning, and before our feet even touch the floor, our minds are racing with all the things that could go wrong, all the problems we need to solve, all the responsibilities weighing on our shoulders. And in doing so, we completely miss the point of being alive. Let me tell you something that changed my entire perspective on life. Stress is nothing more than a choice. I know that might sound controversial, and you might be thinking, but you don't understand my situation. You don't know what I'm going through. And you're right, I don't know your specific circumstances. But what I do know is this. Between every event that happens in your life and your response to it, there's a space. In that space lies your power to choose. And stress is simply choosing to believe that things should be different than they are. Think about it for a moment. What is stress, really? It's resistance to what is. It's the gap between your expectations and reality. It's wanting things to be different so badly that you make yourself sick over it. But the divine intelligence that runs through everything, that beating heart within you, that breath that breathes you even when you're asleep, it's saying something different. It's saying trust. It's saying flow. It's saying, I've got this. You see, we live in a world that teaches us to stress. We're taught that if we're not worried, we're not responsible. If we're not anxious, we're not prepared. If we're not stressed, we don't care enough. But that's the biggest lie we've ever been sold. Stress doesn't make you more responsible. It makes you less effective. It clouds your judgment, weakens your immune system, and separates you from the very source of wisdom and creativity that you need to solve your problems. God, the universe, the Tao, whatever name resonates with you for that infinite creative force, is continuously trying to guide you toward peace. But you can't hear the guidance when you're drowning in stress. It's like trying to see the bottom of a lake when you keep throwing rocks into it. You have to let the water settle. You have to stop stirring up all that debris with your worried thoughts and fearful projections. Here's what most people don't understand about stress. It's always about something that either already happened or hasn't happened yet. Think about that. When you're stressed, you're either ruminating about the past or projecting fear into the future. You're never stressed about this exact moment, right here, right now. Because in this moment, as you're reading these words, breathing in and out, you're actually okay. The stress exists in your mind's interpretation of what was or what might be, but never in what is. The divine message is so simple it's almost comical that we miss it. Be here now. Be present. Stop living in the mental construct of past and future and come back to this moment. Because this moment is all you ever have. This moment is where life happens. This moment is where peace resides. This moment is where God meets you. Now, I can already hear some of you saying, but I have real problems. I have bills to pay. I have responsibilities. I have people depending on me. And yes, you do. But stress doesn't pay your bills. Worry doesn't fulfill your responsibilities. Anxiety doesn't help the people who depend on you. In fact, it does the opposite. When you're stressed, you make poor decisions. You snap at the people you love. You miss opportunities because you're too busy worrying to see them. You create the very outcomes you're afraid of because you're operating from a place of fear rather than wisdom. What if I told you that there's a way to handle all of your responsibilities, face all of your challenges, and deal with all of life's difficulties without stress? Would you believe me? Because it's true. You can be responsible without being stressed. You can be prepared without being anxious. You can care deeply without making yourself sick over it. The key is understanding that you are not separate from the creative force that orchestrates the entire universe. The same intelligence that grows your fingernails, beats your heart, and heals your wounds is available to you for every challenge you face. But you block that intelligence when you insist on controlling everything through the force of your worried mind. Stress is a form of arrogance when you really think about it. It's saying, I know better than the universe. I know how things should be. I need to force this outcome because I can't trust the process. But look at nature. Does a tree stress about whether it will have enough leaves? Does a bird worry about where its next meal will come from? Does the sun fret about whether it will rise tomorrow? No. They trust. They flow. They align with the natural rhythm of life. And they flourish. You are part of that same nature. You come from that same source. The divine spark within you is not separate from the divine intelligence that runs everything. When you stress, you're literally working against yourself. You're trying to swim upstream against the current of the universe. And the message from that infinite source is always the same. Turn around. Flow with me. Trust me. Let go. Letting go doesn't mean being passive. It doesn't mean you don't take action. It means you take inspired action rather than desperate action. It means you respond to life rather than react to it. It means you do what you can do in this moment and then release your attachment to the outcome. Because here's the truth. You're not in control of outcomes anyway. You never were. The only thing you control is your response to what is. When you truly accept that, when you really let it sink in, there's this incredible sense of relief. It's like you've been carrying a backpack full of rocks for years, and suddenly you realize you can just set it down. All that stress, all that burden, it's self-imposed. Nobody's making you carry it. You've just convinced yourself that you have to. God's message is that you don't have to. You can choose peace right now, in this moment, regardless of your circumstances. Because peace is not dependent on your circumstances. Peace is your natural state when you stop resisting what is and align yourself with the flow of life. Let me share something with you about how this works practically. When you have a problem, when you face a challenge, when something happens that you don't like, you have two choices. You can either stress about it, which means you're adding the suffering of resistance to the challenge itself. Or you can accept it, which means you acknowledge what is without making yourself sick over it, and then you take whatever action you can take from a place of clarity and peace. The interesting thing is that the second approach not only feels better, it actually works better. When you're peaceful, you're creative. When you're stressed, you're reactive. When you're trusting, you're open to solutions. When you're anxious, you're blind to opportunities. The universe is always offering you guidance, always presenting you with possibilities, but you can't receive them when you're vibrating at the frequency of stress. Think of it this way. Every cell in your body is listening to your thoughts. Every emotion you feel sends chemical messages throughout your entire system. When you stress, you literally poison yourself. Your body goes into fight or flight mode. Your cortisol levels spike. Your immune system weakens. Your digestion shuts down. Your heart races. Your blood pressure rises. And for what? For a mental construct. For a story you're telling yourself about something that might happen or something that already happened. But when you choose peace, when you trust, when you align with the divine message of letting go, your entire physiology changes. Your parasympathetic nervous system engages, your body heals, your mind clears, your heart opens. And from that state, you're capable of so much more than you ever could be from a state of stress. Now, I want to address something important. Choosing peace doesn't mean you don't care. It doesn't mean you're indifferent. It doesn't mean you're weak. In fact, it's the opposite. It takes tremendous strength to remain peaceful in the face of challenges. It takes real courage to trust when everything in your conditioned mind is screaming at you to worry. It takes genuine power to let go of control and flow with life. The divine is not asking you to be a doormat. It's not telling you to accept abuse or injustice. It's not suggesting you be passive in the face of wrongdoing. What it's saying is that you can stand up for yourself, you can work for change, you can take action, you can pursue your goals, all without the burden of stress. You can be fully engaged in life without being attached to outcomes. You can care deeply without being consumed by anxiety. This is what true freedom looks like. It's not freedom from challenges. It's not freedom from responsibilities. It's freedom from the tyranny of your own worried thoughts. It's freedom from the prison of stress that you've built in your own mind. And here's the beautiful part. The moment you stop stressing, the moment you really let go and trust, things start to shift. Not because you're magically controlling reality, but because you're finally getting out of your own way. You're allowing the infinite intelligence of the universe to work through you instead of constantly blocking it with your anxious interference. I've seen this happen over and over again in my own life and in the lives of countless others. The moment you surrender, the moment you stop trying to force things, the moment you release your white-knuckle grip on how you think things should be, solutions appear, doors open, opportunities arise, help shows up, not always in the way you expected, and not always on your timeline, but always in perfect timing. That's what faith really means. Not blind belief in some distant deity, not hoping that some external force will magically fix your problems, but trusting that the same intelligence that created you, that sustains you, that breathes you is fully capable of guiding you through whatever challenges you face. And that trust, that faith, that surrender is the antidote to stress. You know what's interesting? We stress about things we can't control and neglect the one thing we can control, our state of being. We can't control the economy, but we can control our response to financial challenges. We can't control other people, but we can control how we relate to them. We can't control the past, but we can control what meaning we assign to it. We can't control the future, but we can control the quality of our present moment. And when you really focus on what you can control, which is your inner state, everything else starts to fall into place. Not because you're forcing it, but because you're finally in alignment with the way life actually works. God's message to not stress is really an invitation to come home to yourself, to come home to peace, to come home to the present moment where life actually happens, because you've been living in exile, in the distant lands of past and future, in the foreign territory of what if and if only. And all the while, home has been right here, in this moment, in this breath, in this space of stillness within you. The stress you feel is homesickness. It's the soul's longing for alignment with Source. It's the quiet voice beneath all the noise saying, there's another way. There's peace available. There's trust possible. There's surrender waiting. And every time you choose peace over stress, you're answering that call. You're coming home. Now let me be practical for a moment. How do you actually do this? How do you stop stressing when you've been doing it for so long it feels like second nature? The answer is simpler than you might think, but it requires practice. First, you have to catch yourself in the act of stressing. You have to become aware that you're doing it. Because most of the time, stress is so habitual that we don't even notice we're engaged in it. So, start paying attention. Notice when your shoulders tense up. Notice when your jaw clenches. Notice when your breathing becomes shallow. Notice when your mind starts spinning stories about all the terrible things that could happen. When you catch yourself stressing, don't judge it. Don't stress about stressing. Just notice it. And then ask yourself one simple question. Is this thought helpful? Most of the time the answer will be no. The thought isn't helping you. It's just torturing you. It's just creating suffering where none needs to exist. Once you realize the thought isn't helpful, you can choose a different one. Not a fake positive thought that you don't believe, but simply a more peaceful perspective. Instead of everything is falling apart, try, I'm going through a challenging time and I have the strength to handle it. Instead of, what if this terrible thing happens? Try, I'll deal with whatever comes when it comes. Instead of, I can't handle this, try, I've handled everything so far and I'm still here. This isn't about denying reality or pretending problems don't exist. It's about relating to reality from a place of peace rather than panic. It's about acknowledging challenges without adding the extra layer of stress on top of them. The second practice is breath. Sounds too simple, right? But your breath is the bridge between your body and mind, between your conscious and unconscious, between you and the divine. When you're stressed, your breath becomes shallow and rapid. When you're peaceful, your breath is slow and full. But here's the magic. You can use your breath to shift your state. When you feel stress rising, stop and take 3 slow, full breaths. Breathe in peace. Breathe out stress. Breathe in trust. Breathe out fear. Breathe in the present moment. Breathe out the worried thoughts. The third practice is gratitude. Stress and gratitude cannot coexist in the same moment. It's physiologically impossible. When you're genuinely feeling grateful, stress dissolves. So when you notice yourself spiraling into stress, stop and find 3 things you're grateful for right now. Not things you should be grateful for, but things you actually feel appreciation for in this moment. Maybe it's the warmth of the sun on your skin. Maybe it's the roof over your head. Maybe it's the fact that you're breathing. It doesn't matter how big or small. What matters is the genuine feeling of appreciation. The fourth practice is surrender. This is the big one. This is where the real transformation happens. Surrender means you do everything you can do, and then you let go of the results. It means you take action without attachment to outcome. It means you release your need to control and trust that the universe has your back. Surrender is not giving up. It's giving in to the flow of life. It's saying yes to what is, even when what is isn't what you wanted. It's trusting that even when things don't go according to your plan, they're unfolding, according to a larger intelligence that you can't always see or understand. This is what the divine has been trying to tell you all along. Stop fighting. Stop resisting. Stop trying to control everything. Flow with life, not against it. Trust the process. Have faith in the journey. Believe that you're being guided, even when you can't see where you're going. You see, stress comes from the belief that you're separate and alone, that you have to figure everything out by yourself, that if you don't worry and control and force things to happen, they won't happen. But that's the illusion. The truth is, you're never alone. You're always connected to Source. You're always being guided. You're always supported by an infinite intelligence that loves you and wants the highest good for you. When you really get this, when you really feel it in your bones, stress becomes impossible. Not because your life becomes perfect or challenge-free, but because you know that no matter what happens, you're going to be okay. You know that you have everything you need within you to handle whatever comes. You know that the universe is not against you, but for you. This is the peace that passes understanding. This is the trust that transcends circumstances. This is the faith that moves mountains. And it's available to you right now. Not when your problems are solved. Not when your circumstances improve. Not when you finally get your act together. Right now, in this moment, just as you are. The divine doesn't care about your accomplishments. It doesn't care about your bank account or your job title or your social status. It cares about your alignment with love, with peace, with truth. And every moment you spend in stress is a moment you're out of alignment. Every moment you choose peace is a moment you're coming back home to who you really are. You are not your stress. You are not your worried thoughts. You are not your anxious feelings. Those are just clouds passing through the sky of your awareness. But you are the sky. You are the awareness itself. You are the peaceful presence that exists beneath all the mental noise. You are the eternal witness that watches the drama of life without being consumed by it. When you identify with your true nature instead of your temporary thoughts and feelings, stress loses its power over you. You can watch your mind spin its worried stories without believing them. You can feel anxiety arise without identifying with it. You can acknowledge challenges without being overwhelmed by them. This is spiritual maturity. This is what it means to be awake. This is the freedom that every spiritual tradition points toward. And the gateway to it is simply letting go of stress, choosing peace, trusting life, surrendering control. Now, I want you to understand something crucial. This is not something you do once and you're done. This is a practice. This is a daily, moment-by-moment choice. Because your mind has been conditioned for years, maybe decades, to stress. It's going to take time to retrain it. It's going to take patience with yourself. It's going to take commitment to choosing peace again and again, even when stress feels more familiar. But every time you choose peace, you're strengthening that neural pathway. Every time you let go, you're making it easier to let go next time. Every time you trust, you're building your trust muscle. And eventually, peace becomes your default instead of stress. Surrender becomes natural instead of forced. Trust becomes automatic instead of a struggle. This is the transformation that's available to you. This is what happens when you finally listen to what God has been telling you all along. Stop stressing. Let go. Trust. Flow. Be at peace. And the beautiful irony is that when you stop trying to control everything, when you release the stress and choose peace, your life actually works better. Things flow more smoothly. Solutions appear more easily. Relationships improve. Health returns. Joy bubbles up. Creativity flourishes. Not because you're forcing anything, but because you're finally getting out of the way and letting life move through you. This is how you were meant to live. Not in constant stress and struggle, but in peace and flow. Not fighting against life, but dancing with it. Not white-knuckling your way through each day, but moving gracefully through whatever comes. You are supported, you are guided, you are loved. The entire universe is conspiring on your behalf. But you have to let it. You have to stop blocking the blessings with your stress. You have to open your hands and release the death grip you have on trying to control everything. When you do, when you really surrender, you'll discover something amazing. The things you were stressing about either work out on their own, or they don't matter as much as you thought they did, or they lead to something even better than you could have planned. Because the universe has a bigger vision for your life than you do. It sees possibilities you can't see. It knows connections you don't know. It's orchestrating synchronicities you're not aware of. Your job is not to figure it all out. Your job is not to worry it into existence. Your job is to show up, do your part, and trust the process. That's it. That's all that's required of you. Show up with your best effort, contribute what you can contribute, and then let go of the results. This is the divine partnership. You do your part, and the universe does its part. But when you stress, you're trying to do both parts. You're trying to be both the actor and the director of your life. And it's exhausting, and it doesn't work. Because you can't see the whole play, you can only see your scene. The universe sees the entire production, and it's orchestrating everything perfectly. So relax, breathe, trust. Know that you are exactly where you need to be, learning exactly what you need to learn, becoming exactly who you need to become. Even the challenges, especially the challenges, are part of your perfect unfolding. Stress tells you that something is wrong. Peace reminds you that everything is happening for you, not to you. Stress says you're behind, you're not enough, you need to do more, be more, have more. Peace says you're right on time, you're enough right now, and everything you need will come when you need it. Which voice will you listen to? Which message will you align with? The choice is yours in every moment, and it's the most important choice you'll ever make. Because the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your inner state, not your outer circumstances. You can have everything the world says you should want, and still be miserable if you're choosing stress. Or you can have very little and be deeply fulfilled if you're choosing peace. The external world is neutral. It's your internal response that creates your experience. So change your response. Choose differently. When stress arises, and it will meet it with awareness, thank it for trying to protect you, because that's what it thinks it's doing. And then gently redirect your attention to peace, to trust, to surrender, to the present moment where everything is actually okay. Do this again and again and again. Make it your practice, make it your priority, make it your path. Because this is not just about feeling better, though you will feel better. This is about aligning with truth. This is about living in harmony with the way life actually works. This is about coming into partnership with the divine intelligence that created you and sustains you. And when you do this, when you really commit to choosing peace over stress, something miraculous happens. Your entire life begins to transform. Not because you're trying to make it transform, but because you're finally in alignment with the transformative power that's been there all along, waiting for you to get out of the way. This is your invitation. This is your calling. This is what you came here to learn and to be. A peaceful presence in a chaotic world. A trusting soul in a fearful time. A surrendered being in a controlling culture. The world needs your peace. It needs you to stop stressing and start trusting. It needs you to be the example of what's possible when you align with the divine message. Because your peace is contagious. Your trust is inspiring. Your surrender is revolutionary. So hear it now, really hear it. God says to not stress. The universe whispers, let go. Your soul knows, peace is your natural state. Your heart understands, trust is the answer. And in this moment, right here, right now, you can choose it. Choose peace, choose trust, choose surrender. Choose the message that's been offered to you since the beginning of time. Stop stressing, start living, start flowing, start being who you really are underneath all the worry and fear. You are peace itself pretending to be stressed. You are trust itself pretending to doubt. You are divine love itself pretending to be afraid. But the pretending can stop now. The act can end now. The truth can be revealed now. You don't need to stress. You never did. You just thought you did, because everyone around you was doing it. But you're awake now. You know better now. You can choose differently now. And when you do, when you really release the burden of stress and step into the freedom of peace, you'll wonder why you carried that weight for so long. You'll marvel at how simple it is to just let go and trust. You'll laugh at how seriously you took it all, how much energy you wasted trying to control the uncontrollable. But don't judge yourself for it. You were doing the best you could with the awareness you had. Now you have new awareness. Now you have a different choice. Now you can walk a different path. The path of peace, the path of trust, the path of surrender, the path of alignment with the divine message that says, stop stressing. I've got this. You're safe. You're loved. You're supported. Everything is working out for your highest good. Relax into that knowing. Rest in that truth. Live from that place. This is freedom. This is joy. This is what you've been searching for all along. Not in some future accomplishment or external acquisition, but right here, right now, in the simple choice to not stress, to trust instead, to surrender and allow life to unfold as it will. Welcome home to yourself. Welcome home to peace. Welcome home to the truth of who you are. And from this place, live your life. Not perfectly, but peacefully. Not without challenges, but without stress. Not knowing all the answers, but trusting in the process. This is enough. You are enough. This moment is enough. Let go of everything else. Be here now. Be at peace. And watch how your life transforms when you finally stop fighting and start flowing with the river of existence that's been carrying you all along, waiting for you to relax and enjoy the ride.